Hi guys, so today I really wanted to talk about how you could find your personal style. And I have looked around a lot online and sort of found the same type of advice, which is to go on Pinterest and pin all kinds of things that you really love and sort of see what kinds of trends come out of it. And I want to talk about why this doesn't necessarily work. And a part of that is because, I don't know about you, but when I pin stuff, I find that I basically pin everything. Like I love, it kind of depends on my mood, what I'm feeling. Like sometimes I love this kind of grungy, emo, goth type of style. So I'll pin stuff like that maybe. I'll pin stuff that's like more elegant and sophisticated when I'm in that mood, more ethereal and feminine when I'm in another mood, and more even minimalist when I'm in another mood. And this kind of thing can be a little bit, I guess, almost distressing if you think that your personal style sort of reflects who you are, or if you use it as an expression of who you are. You can find that it basically is a little bit disturbing to have all of these different styles, so to speak, when you're trying to sort of express yourself, and it doesn't seem very consistent because your pins are always so different. But something that I came to understand is that the things that I pin are all a part of me. Those things are all things that I like, and I'm not a photograph, right? And I'm not one particular exact archetype of a style. I am a person with a lot of different sides. And if you're watching this video, and if you have come all the way over here, or if you're a subscriber of mine already, then you know that it can get a little bit complicated when you're thinking about personal style. So I want to talk about why Pinterest and sort of certain styles are not always, or going about it the Pinterest way is not really going to yield any kind of results. And if you're here, again, you probably have done the Pinterest thing and you're like, yeah, I'm still at square one. I don't really understand why. It seems like I like everything, and clearly I don't know who I am. But if I told you that you do know who you are, your style has been really inside of you this whole time. You just haven't really refined it and polished it in a way that is applicable to your everyday life. You might even laugh and say that's ridiculous. One day I like grunge and the next day I like elegant, but I want to show you, hopefully in this video series, just how all of that could fit together into a cohesive style. So the reason why the Pinterest thing doesn't really work is because usually we're drawn to these things because they are archetypes. So like some minimal archetype, right? And sometimes there are two archetypes combined, like minimal and elegant, or elegant and vintage, or grungy and goth, or goth and elegant, right? So there's a lot of different combinations, and we're drawn to these specifically when they include maybe one or two or three of our archetypes that we are really, really interested in. But those archetypes are not who we are. We're not archetypes, we are people, and we're often complex. So that brings me to my next point, is this idea that I had in my mind for so long, that my personal style has to represent every single aspect of me at the same time, very overtly and very precisely all the time. Now, I think that a picture can speak 1,000 words for sure, but if you really think about that idea that your entire outfit should reflect every single aspect of who you are, and all of your different preferences, all of the ways that you came to your preferences, all of your history and everything like that. When you think of it that way, that doesn't make any sense, right? Because even imagine how long it would take for someone to really, really get to know you. And in the same way, it takes there's a lot of information about you as a person. We're all pretty complex, that cannot just be communicated through one piece or another piece. I take the approach that I want to sort of hint at different aspects of my personality through my style, but I still want it to be something that I can apply every day and something that is cohesive from beginning to end, from event to event, from just different type of clothing to another. I want it to be really cohesive, and I always want it to express the majority of who I am in subtle ways. And when people get to know me more, they would understand why I wear the things that I wear. And because these things are going to be very intentional and the wardrobe is going to be designed in a very particular way, it might come off like I have a certain style, I have a certain aesthetic to me, which I would. But at the same time, these are all bits and pieces that I've found a way to sort of bring together into a cohesive style. And at the same time, they're not caricatures of, each type of style. And these caricatures, these archetypes are really appealing because they sort of speak to a vision that we have. They speak to an idea. But, again, you're not a vision, you are a person. So you have all of these different sides to you, and they all should be honored and they all should be respected and expressed. And that's sort of the key to how I finally found my personal style. So there's also a lot of technicality, I guess, with how you can incorporate all of these different aspects in a way that's meaningful to you. And it's going to come together in a certain aesthetic, but at the same time, it's not going to be something that is so overt that you look like you're wearing a costume. Like sometimes before I sort of found a way to incorporate everything, I would put something on, maybe something like this, and I would be like, okay, I look like I'm wearing a costume, but I totally love the outfit. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I still just look like it's a little bit too much. Like, where would I wear this, right? And then I would also find different pieces that were like completely, okay, now I want to find, like, if I see a really elegant dress, so like I really identify with like some elegant stuff, so I really like elegance and I want to sort of include that in my wardrobe, so I would just buy like an elegant cocktail dress. So I don't know if there's anyone watching this, I know there is, if you are buying elegant cocktail dresses when you don't even go to cocktail parties, then you need to stop and you need to rethink your wardrobe and how you can actually incorporate that essence, that type of look into your everyday look, so that you feel like you're expressing it all the time, so that it's not like this repressed thing and then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to just splurge on this cocktail dress or something, right? So anyway, yes, so the point is that you definitely want to include all of your aspects into the style, and then when you go shopping, you're going to be like, okay, like, I'm not going to buy this elegant cocktail dress because, first of all, I have nowhere to wear it, and secondly, I can just go for some of the more elegant colors and cuts in my wardrobe that I already have, that I have, intentionally designed for this exact occasion where I feel like maybe I want to feel that way a little bit more today or tomorrow. So at the same time, that look is also going to be cohesive with the rest of the looks. So I am going to show you guys how I personally did that for myself. And they're actually practical looks and not, costumey or very archetypey, that I could just wear every day. So before we move on to that, I want you to look through everything, get all of your Pinterest boards that are crazy, right? And they have all kinds of different things on them, and just put them all together. So if you have, for example, mine, right? My ideas or Pinterest boards or whatever are basically this kind of like, obviously elegant, I already mentioned. I really like some feminine stuff, and I also really like, there are different personality traits to me too. Like, I'm really kind of like, I enjoy practical things and I don't like having a lot of stuff. So I'm pretty utilitarian in that way. So I put that down as like one of my features, one of my personality traits, and one of my preferences. I also used to be like kind of like an emo goth kid in high school, so I feel like I still identify with some of that. Like if you were one of these kids, I think you know what I mean. Somehow you just take that as a little part of your identity. So I want to somehow incorporate small elements, like a small nod to that, you know, history of mine as well. And I also identify as being a little bit of an artist, so like I like to paint and draw and stuff like that, so I want to incorporate that aspect as well. I also really value quality over quantity, and I also value I'm pretty sentimental actually, so I'm kind of sentimental. I think that also goes with the quality over quantity thing, and sort of this is something that I personally value. Now again, you could be not utilitarian, you don't care. Like I've seen some style bloggers who are amazing, and they have all kinds of these, like all kinds of different colors that they have all kinds of different cuts, shirts, they have a ton, and they just go thrifting and they get a ton of stuff, and they have their own unique style as well. So there's all kinds of different ways that you could have your own unique style. So just remember that this is me describing my way that I would like to do it, but it's highly personal to you. So yes, so think about all of the things that you like, and if there's something that you think gets in the way, like for me, I thought for the longest time, like I wish I could just like buy more accessories, like more jewelry and stuff, but like I'm not about to buy like 10 gold necklaces, like that's gonna get expensive. So I just saw it as kind of an inconvenience, like my preference as an inconvenience, when in reality, I actually think that if you sort of elevate that preference and try to make it into something positive, you might find that it really expresses something about you that's actually quite deep. Like for me, I am quite sentimental, and I really enjoy that now I have accepted that aspect of myself in my style, and I really love to wear jewelry that was like gifted to me, or like different jewelry that I might find on a special occasion or things like that. So anyway, and I am also into sort of like feminine kind of ethereal type of stuff as well. Also sort of introverted, so I want to keep that in mind for my personal style. Like one time years ago, I bought a tomato red jacket, and I just never ever wore it because it was just too bright of a color for me. I just didn't feel comfortable in it. So I want to honor that introversion in myself. So all of these things are together pretty crazy. So gather your own sort of sides to you. Write down all of your preferences, put together all of your Pinterest boards and everything, and I will talk to you in the next video about how you can apply all of this. But I'm happy that you made it all the way to the end, because I really wanted to discuss in this video why the Pinterest thing doesn't work. First of all, because you are not an archetype, you are a person. Secondly, because you are complex, so it's not always easy to describe every single aspect of yourself in detail perfectly in one outfit, and that's perfectly okay, and it's perfectly normal to have different sides to you as well. And thirdly, because if you sort of dress as an archetype or as a combination of two archetypes, and you might struggle with having things be a little bit like not understated enough for every day, too Instagrammy, and not too, not practical for every day. And finally, if you just realize that you have these archetypes, but you sort of you just buy things from each archetype separately, like a shirt that's goth, and then a shirt that's elegant, and a skirt that's ethereal, then all of those things are just going to be a mess, and you will never be able to get dressed in the morning. Trust me, I was there. So I'm going to show you another way that you could do that. So gather all the things you like, and I'll see you in the next video. That's it, you guys. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment with your thoughts. What are some of your style preferences, and how have you been able to marry them together or not? I would be really curious to know. Okay, thanks for watching.